Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Oh, welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 366. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. And Nate.
Ooh, what's up? You ever wish you could play guitar sometimes, just to like know how to, if you were doing air guitar correctly or not?
I mean, I've attempted over the course of my life a time or two, but didn't pan out.
Isn't it funny how most athletes just like instruments don't make sense to me? Is it the same way for you? Like it just doesn't. I look at a piano and I'm like, what's going on here? There's two colors.
That's not a baseball glove. I don't know what to do with that.
No idea how to. Can I throw this? Does it go into a net somewhere? No idea.
That's honestly probably how Domingo Germán had been feeling the last couple outings out. And
impeccable transition.
Thank you. And seemed to have flipped a switch. I mean, I won't say it, but there were countless comments, countless tweets, countless posts saying couldn't have happened to a worse guy. I'm not saying that. That's what they're saying. But I just wanted to present that without comment, just to kind of get the ball rolling here on Domingo Germán's perfect game. What are your thoughts? Because as the resident Yankee fan here, I know that I texted you last night because it was one of those eves of a podcast recording where the topics were looking a little bleak. We were gonna have to get a little creative, and then I texted you about the 7th or 8th as the game developed, thinking, or I was saying to you that, you know, maybe Domingo Germán gives us our topic of conversation, and you said you had mixed feelings about it. So I'll give you the floor. I want to hear your thoughts on how the evening developed and what your thoughts were after the fact.
Well, I had to poop at about the 6th inning mark. So that made my night a little more difficult for sure. Just because, like, you know, you can't mess with that.
Speaking of which, unrelated but also very related, was it confirmed? Did anybody find out if that's what Domingo Germán left the dugout for around the 7th or 8th inning? Because they had they just had the camera rolling, and then he disappears, huh? And they were just like, "Well, he's got to go handle his business," and he was gone for a minute.
Yeah, hard to say there. Hard to say.
One can assume.
I'm hoping he washed his hands after, you know, just in case. I don't know, but like I said, mixed emotions.
That's a good pun. That's a good play on words there.
There you
with
go.
His history, with
see what I'm saying?
Potential bathroom germs. There's a lot at play there. I like that.
See what I'm saying there?
Well done.
Yeah, man, mixed emotions. I'm not here to judge people. You know, there's always two sides to a story. But when you look at the history and you look at, you know, his both off the field and on the field rule breaking, it's not very easy to root for this guy. I'm glad I witnessed it. I'm glad it happened, but at the same, it's like, it kind of reminds me of like how Yankees fans felt about like A-Rod winning MVP in like 2007 and then just going off in 2009 in the playoffs. It's one of those where like you're glad it happened for the team, but I don't really love that guy. So like, it's tough, man. And I'm not going to sit here and say that every guy on the perfect game list is a perfect human, is a perfect person. We don't know. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. You talk about the other names in Yankee history that have done it, and it's like those are iconic names. You do have a guy that was fairly controversial in the way he acted and the way he was on and off the field in David Wells. So maybe there's a little bit of a similarity there. Yeah, man, it's weird. It's tough. To go on the other side of it, though, I don't know if you heard that story about his uncle passing away a couple days ago, and he had spent, the last couple days in the clubhouse crying, and then his post-game presser, he, dedicated it to him, and kissing the ball, looking up to the sky. So there's parts of that where you're like, all right, well, that it kind of softens the blow with this. But I mean, I'd be lying if I said it didn't. I wish it happened to somebody else. I wish it did. I wish it was anyone else on the rotation. But as a Yankee fan and like removing myself from the emotional side of it, yeah, dude, like, heck yeah. Love to be able to see that. I loved seeing that, like, the Yankees haven't done anything in a long time, and to have the first one since 2012, back when King Felix did it, it feels good that way. It's just there's like this asterisk next to it for me, and it's not an asterisk that goes in the stat line. It's just like an asterisk of how it feels. And I was reading through comments, and I saw the same thing all over comments last night of like, couldn't happen to a worse guy. It's like, you couldn't no-hit your wife. Thought that one was a pretty decent one. That one was just from the top rope. So it's just, yeah, man, it's like, we believe in baseball gods, and you don't typically see baseball gods rewarding guys like this. So it's weird for me. It's really weird for me. But it was cool sitting next to Paige. Obviously, she's pretty new to baseball for the most part, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, these notifications are coming on the phone. The game's been on the whole time, and she's like wondering why I'm so glued to it. And I'm like, I can't explain it to you. I was like, I think it was like 18 hitters at that point. I was like, he's faced 18 hitters and all 18 have gotten out. She's like, I don't get it. I'm like, okay. So then a notification comes, and I show her the notification because ESPN tries to jinx everything. And she's reading it, and she's like, I still don't get it. And I'm like, just keep listening, and maybe you'll start to pick up on what's going on. And then another notification came in after the 8th. And I showed her that one. She's like, oh, yeah, I see what's going on now. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then Rucco was on the broadcast with Jeff Nelson. They were kind of talking about how, like, you don't move your seat. We don't talk about it. We avoid certain things. So that part I'm pretty grateful for. It's like, like a fairly new baseball fan got to experience something that is rare. And I was like, a Yankee hasn't done this since 99, and there's only 24 ever done. So it's like, it's a big deal. So that part was pretty sweet.
Anytime there's some sort of feat such as this, I can't help but find myself just having my stomach in knots. Doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter what team it's for, doesn't matter what team it's against, doesn't matter what time of the season we're talking about. It could be opening day, it could be a dog day in June, it could be October. When something like this happens, my stomach is just in knots. And it was in like double knots because I'm sitting there realizing that my stomach is in knots for a Yankee pitcher on the verge of throwing a perfect game. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make me feel good. So I was just dealing with double stomach knots there. So that wasn't fun. But
yeah,
I honestly thought as we approached the 9th, or as we were in the 9th, and the offense just kept dragging it out. I'm like, there's no way. You can't.
I noticed that, dude.
You just can't bounce back from this. I don't care if it's the A's. It doesn't matter. You drag out the game. The game is in hand. Just get in, get out. Like,
it's so weird. I've never rooted for an inning double play before. I'm just like, let's get them back out there and get this done.
Yeah, and they were talking about that on the broadcast because I obviously had the Yankees broadcast on, and they were talking about, like, do you think that the guys at the plate would just be okay, or like the guys in the dugout would be okay if the guy at the plate just kind of had a rather quick AB?
Yeah,
and I'm like, if there's one game where you can maybe just like,
it's already done, it's in hand. 8, 9, 10 run lead at that point. I think they put it up to 11 eventually. Yeah, dude, it was just like, they did say, I think he had like a 25-minute delay or something like that in the fourth after a pretty big inning, which was interesting. But that's like still earlier in your start where you're not even worried about this kind of thing. Whole different ball game when it's top 9. So yeah, just overall just wild. You texted it was just like a cherry on top for the A's this year. For, they're going to go down as one of the worst teams of all time, and to have this one happen, the first one in 11 years, it's happening to them. Did you see Mark Kotze's comments?
I didn't know. What did he say?
No. The headline was like, Kotze blames it on his offense or whatever. Which, whatever. I mean, I don't know. But he basically came out and said he pounded the zone. Obviously, you don't throw strikes. You don't not throw strikes when you're going 9 innings and not getting a base run out there. I think overall offensively, our approach wasn't great. We didn't make any adjustments to what he was doing, throwing his changeup and his breaking ball until 2 strikes. We hit a ton of balls to pull side. We didn't make one adjustment to try to hit a ground ball. I didn't listen to the full thing. Here it is. Obviously, you tip your cap to the performance. The kid did an amazing job of keeping us off balance all night, and we didn't do a good job of making an adjustment. And if you guys were wondering, 51 curveballs last night. It's at 30 fastballs, 17 changeups.
99 pitches.
1 sinker to get that 99 number. Yeah, super efficient. Shout out Kyle Higashioka. Caught the last no-hitter against Kluber. So I love seeing the catchers react to this stuff because it's like they're always going to be remembered. I love the credit that they get. But to catch 2 of them, that's pretty nuts. That's pretty wild.
For a young guy, or rather young guy, too.
Yeah. And like a journeyman backup guy, spent a lot of time in the minor leagues and has gotten his chance over the last couple of years. But yeah, just overall kind of wild.
Did you see my I don't know if you had, I'm guessing you, or I'm hoping that you had the volume on for the 9th, but did you by chance hear the A's when they went to commercial break? Just before it went to break, they were playing Britney Spears, Hit Me Baby One More Time. Yeah. I'm like, okay, like we sit here and rip the A's all we do, but
yeah, that's a tally on their side for sure. That's a good job.
I wouldn't have thought to do that. Like that, whoever's sitting there thinking like, oh, okay, what can we play? Like that's brilliant. I mentioned the transition into this conversation when I was talking about the last couple outings he's had. He's coming off of a start in which he went 3 1/3 versus the Mariners and allowed 8 runs.
Yeah.
And then the start before that, which I don't even feel like got discussed as much as his last start, but it wasn't much better. He went 2 innings and allowed 7 earned runs versus Boston. So like for this guy to just seemingly figure it out one night. And when we talked to Dallas Braden, what is that now? 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I remember, and I'll never forget this. I asked him, I was essentially like, what are your thoughts on the idea that you will just be remembered for a single day at the ballpark? And I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to the effect of, why wouldn't I be okay with that? Like, that's just, you go out there and you have a good day at the ballpark, and that's just how the game goes sometimes. And he was perfectly at peace with that. And so for a guy like Domingo Germán to come through here and, just seemingly have it figured out one night, coming off of 2 god-awful starts, that's sometimes how baseball works.
Right. And he's, we're not talking about a Hall of Famer. And that's kind of, that's what Dallas touched on. He's like, I'm not going to be remembered forever for my career. It's, it's pretty neat to have this one day. Other weird stuff around it. Every starting pitcher with the Yankees starts with a D. That's done this. Don Larson, David Wells, David Cone, now Domingo Germán.
Interesting.
And then I did see that they did win the World Series in the prior 3 each year that happened.
Wow, I did not see that. That's
so fingers crossed there. We'll see about that, but just funny stuff, man. You hear like weird stories with like David Cone did it, and he had like the weird like aneurysm thing in his arm, had to get surgery, and like, he dealt with some stuff there. We all know the story of David Wells getting absolutely blasted the night before and was still like half drunk when he started the game. I'm sure Don Larson was just a stand-up customer before his start. I have no idea what was going on back then, but just kind of weird stuff. It just shows you how weird baseball is, just strange, really, really strange. I didn't see the attendance last night. Did you? It looked pretty decent. Looked like maybe, I would guess maybe 11, 12,000. I
didn't really see much attendance.
Really? There you go. There was good chunk of Yankee fans, and I was telling Paige, which was cool because it was like they showed one of the camera angles of like in the crowd, and you could see a couple A's fans having like the rally hats on and stuff. And I was telling her, I was like, it gets to the point where even the opposing team is rooting for this to happen.
For sure.
Especially when you're getting blown out, like this game's done. At this point, you just want to see some history. So you could see like A's fans celebrating with it too. It's just, there's certain times where you like to see like baseball triumphs, everything, like what you are as a fan, who you're playing against, whether you hate the Yankees or not. Like, I'm sure there's a ton of baseball fans that stayed up last night and were like, they're glad they got to witness that. It's not necessarily about who does it with what team. I think in some ways you can just say, I got to witness that. And, there's a very real chance we don't see another one, or maybe only see one more in our lifetime. So it's like that part of it is pretty dope.
I'm not going to be a happy customer if a Yankee perfect game is the last one I ever see.
That's true. That might.
I have no interest in that, especially this guy.
Yeah.
Of all guys. No, thank you.
No real big defensive plays either.
No, and I was going to say that. Yeah. Like, I know in our fantasy group text that got brought up, and it was like, has there been any plays? Because majority of us were not tuned into the Yankees versus A's game. We didn't really tune into the 6th, 7th.
Yeah.
So you're kind of unfamiliar with how the game had built up to that point. And I went back and watched all 27 outs.
Rizzo had that nice play up the line. That was about it.
Yeah, and like Donaldson,
it was like a tweener dive. It wasn't like a full outstretched dive up the line.
Yeah, and Donaldson
he looked
got
dope when he did it. Did you see that though? He just like was super chill.
Yeah, threw a dart to Germán. That was impressive, especially given the circumstances. But I saw Donaldson got hit pretty hard down there at third last night. There was like a couple, I mean, not anything to be overly concerned about, but I did see a couple fly balls that were like,
yeah,
kind
it
of a
was
little
late
hairy
too. It was like the
Yeah.
7th inning. It was ball to the track and left. I think it was 7th or 8th. Yeah.
And I don't remember who you had out there, but there was like one or two where you were unsure whether or not it was going to get hauled in because it was kind of that no man's land. I'm like, it's not good.
I was Stanton started the game in right, and I was like, dude, once it hit the 7th, I was like, we got to get him out. Like, I can't. I will lose my mind if this gets blown because of him. And then I think he walked or something like that in his last at bat, and then Ozzie Cabrera came in and pinch ran for him and then took over in right. But IKF and left. Bader in center, of course. Glaber was not in the game. Something to note there. Guy that's been arguably taking some plays off lately. So DJ was playing second. Volpe looked really good, and you know, Volpe's had some errors on routine ground balls throughout the year, so I was nervous a couple times. As much as I can't stand Donaldson, he's kind of a vacuum over there. So everybody just it was a boring perfect game, but you'll take it, you know.
Just some nuggets from last night's effort from Domingo Germán. As we mentioned, the 24th perfect game in Major League history, or I guess it kept being labeled as the 24th in AL/NL history because, like, you can only go back to a certain point to where you can actually kind of like start the clock on that because pre-MLB, I guess. Anyway, 24th perfect game in AL/NL history. The Yankees 11-0 win is the largest win in any perfect game in Major League history. As we mentioned earlier, 99 pitches to get it done. He was the first Dominican with a perfect game, which I thought was interesting.
That's pretty cool.
You love to see that. It was the 4th by a New York Yankee, most by any team. First perfect game since 2012. And one other note that I thought was really interesting, and it those knots that I was telling you about that were in my stomach just dissolved with how quickly the 9th went. I was thinking like the A's are going to put up somewhat of a fight, although you never really want to see that. You're like, okay, just kind of like, you know, go up there, take your hack and be done. That was a joke of an effort in the 9th. Like, it's almost, I mean, I know I'm contradicting myself here. Like, you don't want to see teams give a fight, but like have some middle ground. Like who was it? Who got the second out? It was like a first pitch fly out, I think.
Was it Langmuir's? Ruiz ended it, right? I think he ended it. And to be honest, that ball was barreled.
He smoked that ball for a ball to third.
Kind of a tween hop for Donaldson. Yeah. It wasn't a short hop, but it wasn't a long hop. He did I think it was only like his second or third 3-ball count that he started off the 9th with. He fell behind 2-0, and I think he eventually fell behind 3-1. But yeah, I think it was only like his second or third 3-ball count. Pretty impressive there too.
Yeah, he had 6 pitches in the 9th. I was anticipating a lot more anxiety, and I blinked and it was over.
I was partially expected. I told Paige, I was like, because Ruiz is super fast, and I was like, honestly, I'm going to be pissed if he tries to bunt here. 2 outs, down 11. And I think I have more respect for the fact that Ruiz took like an A swing and barreled it. You know what I mean? I just, there was going to be something about seeing a bunt attempt that would have pissed me off. And I saw some comments on that. Last guy should have bunted. He's super fast. And I'm like, dude, stop. I think there's a cardinal rule around that in my mind. If it's a 1-run ball game, sure. If it's in the 7th, sure. Not 2 outs in the 9th. Like, you beat me with your best, I'll beat you with mine. Let's get after it kind of thing. So I respect Ruiz for that. Just overall tough look for the A's.
A's are so bad.
Yeah.
I can't state it enough just how bad they are. And I'm curious as to whether A's fans are happy this happened.
Right.
Or if they're like, that's a weird place to be if you're an A's fan, because it's like you want the team to be sold. You don't want the team to leave.
Yeah.
But you recognize the product on the field is garbage. But you want them to be bad so that the front office wakes up and improves the product on the field. There's a whole lot at play for A's fans. So I'd be curious to get a take from A's fans on how they felt about that. I mean, aside from the historical aspect of it, just like kind of where they're at this morning after the fact. Anything else about last night that you wanted to get into as the resident Yankees fan?
I honestly, I love Ryan Ruocco. And for those who don't know, he was the one that was on the call last night. Michael Kay was in London for the Cardinals-Cubs series. So I'm assuming with a West Coast series right after that, I just think he was taking time off. But I'm pretty biased. I can't wait for Ruocco to eventually take over and take that from Kay. It's probably going to be another 10 years at least, but I think Ryan Ruocco's excellent. For those unfamiliar, he does the R2C2 podcast with CC. Yeah, just excellent, man. He's had some big moments. There was a couple years ago where the Yankees were playing the Twins, and it was like I don't know if you remember, it was like an insane back.
Was that the Aaron Hicks game?
That was Aaron Hicks game where
I was watching
diving
that.
catch in left center, and then a extra innings bomb. Ruocco's just really, really good. He's really good at his job.
He's good with the moment for sure.
Yeah. So I think he did really, really well. So, I think Michael Kay can get a little cheesy. He was a little cheesy on the no-hit call with Kluber, a little cheesy with the record-breaking home run for Judge. I don't dislike Michael Kay, but I think it was cool that Ryan Ruocco got a chance to do that.
There's definitely a line to be drawn and a distinction to be made between the commentators who you can tell are writing out their call probably in like the 7th or 8th.
He's that guy. Michael Kay is that guy. He's definitely writing that down.
Oh, for sure, because you know that's going to be repeated, but I would venture to say, we might be completely off base here, but I would venture to say a guy like Ruocco is just like he has an idea, but he's just going to let the moment feed him what he needs to make the call.
Dude's a pro. I mean, he does WNBA games, he does Nets games. The guy's he's a pro. So yeah, he did an excellent job. Jeff Nelson was like the perfect pitcher broadcaster for this, because he's kind of chill, he's a little laid back, and he kept pointing out like some cool stuff, like the dugout's really small. A lot of guys like to hide when they're going on runs like this, no hits and perfect games, so they go hide in the dugout. You can't really do that in Oakland. You got half the dudes like standing on the step or sitting on coolers. Joke that is. But he's talking about how like if you're in the bullpen, you get up, you get water, you go right back to your spot, like all this kind of stuff. You don't switch around. And that's when Paige picked up, by the way, because they were like talking superstition, and she's like, "Oh, that's why you haven't moved." I was like, "Yeah, can't." So yeah, I think that was one thing I want to point out, was just really good commentating, good broadcast team. And it was just pretty cool that it wasn't the normal crew. I don't even think John Sterling was there either for the radio. I think it was another guy, because I saw Ruocco post a picture on Instagram today, and it was him and the radio guy like holding up their scorecard, their scorebook, and they had like gone to college together. They grew up Yankee fans together,
nice,
like New York natives. Like, so it's just that much cooler. I love hearing those little connections and like little side stories. So
Yeah, it's like even if you don't like the guy that did it, you can at least appreciate the stories of the people who are also putting in the work,
Right.
like behind the scenes and stuff
Right.
like that. So that's cool. Speaking of putting in work behind the scenes, it's safe to say that Alek Manoah is,
Dude.
is he putting in the work behind the scenes? Like, is he putting too much work in behind the scenes? Because I don't know what that was. Throws 2
Rookie ball,
2/3
dude.
in rookie ball, 11 earned runs on 10 hits, 2 home runs allowed, 2 walks, and just 3 Ks in his first start in rookie ball in the Florida Complex League. What is that? And I know that there's people out there saying, well, guys, like, and I saw it because there were comments in response to the post that we put out, and it was like, give the guy some time. Like, he's clearly working on something and just hasn't figured out yet. And I said, yeah, I was going back and forth with a guy yesterday in the comments. I said, yes and no. Yes, he can take time to like work on these things and figure it out, especially if it's mechanical. But an all-star caliber pitcher should not be giving up. He should 11 runs. He should not be giving up 11 runs to a bunch of 19-year-olds. Like, I'm sorry. That's just like, come on.
Yeah.
If you're working on something, I could see 5, 6, 7, 8, but you cross into double digits. I'm like, oh, what are we doing? Maybe we help the guy's confidence a little bit and pull him and maybe work on some more things.
Right.
And then come back out for another start in a few days. But like just letting him wear it out there. And I know like literally nobody's watching these games. Nobody really cares.
Yeah.
But like what that does to your mentality, your confidence, your psyche, like, come on now.
Dude, oh man. It's ugly. I don't know if I'm holding on to him in fantasy or not. I can't decide. He's just been sitting on the bench, and it's like, it's one of those things where if he does figure it out, you come back and it's like, now you're talking about a potential ace. We've seen him do great things. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I think I'm curious to how much he got dropped after that start. I'm going to look it up.
When was that start, by the way? It was
yesterday.
Wasn't it like right after our last episode?
I thought it was like just yesterday.
No, 2 days ago.
Yeah, he's still rostered in 51% of leagues in fantasy.
For anybody who's curious, he's got a 37.13 ERA right now in rookie ball.
Oof. Yeah, dude. Did you see Stroman tweet out?
No, I don't, because I'm blocked, so I can't see what he's
like all these clowns dogging on my boy. You know, just wait till he comes back. Something.
I'm
like
not
that.
the least surprised that he's chalking him up as his boy. Like, that just it seemed like 2 peas in a pod.
Let me see if I can find the exact one.
Guy is such a joke. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, here it is. I can't wait for Manoah to get back to the MLB and make y'all eat your words. All you clowns hating on another man is just a projection of your own insecurities and life struggles. Times like these are when true athletes are transformed. Look forward to his return. All y'all clowns hating. He's a professional athlete who's completely fallen off the map.
Hold on. Say that again. Read the part about the like projection or whatever he said.
All you clowns hating on another man is just a projection of your own insecurities and life struggles. Yeah, I'm insecure about giving up 11 runs in 2 2/3. What are you talking about, Marcus?
The audacity of Marcus Stroman to talk about being insecure, that's just baffling.
Seriously, that guy is a walking insecurity.
Have a little self-awareness, Mr. Stroman. Like, come on, dude.
Bugs me, dude. Bugs me bad.
That is annoying. He's just so loud. And I don't even know why we're talking about this. We're talking about Manoah. I don't even know why he's involving himself in this conversation anyway. But I don't want to go on this Marcus Stroman rant, but it's frustrating because he like postures himself in a way that you just can't say anything about him, because if you come at him and he's like, yo, like I'm all positive vibes. Like, don't bring that negativity into my life. Or if you say something about another player, as somebody like in an industry, so like us or people like on like the real deal media outlets, ESPN, MLB Network, whatever, if they come out and say something, then he comes out and puts out a tweet like this and is like, you all just hating. It's like, we're literally here to talk about what happens in the sport that you play, Marcus. So was it a good outing? No, it was a horrible outing. So we're going to talk about it. Do you want us to just not talk about it and pretend like it didn't happen? Would that make you feel better? Would that hurt? Would that help your ego? I don't understand.
Stroman's nuts, dude. There's one comment that says it's not hating when you have a guy that's constantly talking on the field and calling out players like Garrett Cole. If you want to be a guy that chirps every fifth day on the mound, you have to back it up with your play. The man is struggling in AAA. That's embarrassing. Obviously, we know that's not true. It's rookie ball. Stroman just comes back with, you're trash.
The guy dishes out more clown emojis than any grown man I've seen in my life. It's worst. Unbelievable. But no more talk about... No more time.
Nah, man, he just ruined my fantasy baseball season. That's all. Comments, man. I love those. So good.
I mean,
I get it. I feel that. I dealt some dudes to go get them, hoping I could buy low. No, you didn't.
You bought low. You didn't deal anything.
I don't remember what that deal was.
It was Glaber, I think, and like one other guy.
Glaber and Bader.
Nothing to write home about.
Still better than that, whatever that is going to be the next second half.
Speaking of whether or not guys are going to stick around where they're at, or maybe they'll flip the script in the second half, because this is the official halfway point of the season for those keeping track at home. Tonight's games will mark the 81st game, so we are halfway home. But I figured with this Manoah talk, we could transition into a topic that I know you wanted to maybe look at a little bit, and that is looking at some guys at the tops and bottoms of statistical leaderboards, and maybe just have a little chat about whether or not they're going to be staying put, or if the second half has something a little bit better for them in store. So I'll flip it to you on how you want to go about this. I know we're just going to look at a qualified player pool across baseball and maybe run through some stats real quick. We'll run through some position players and some pitchers, I would imagine, too. But before we do that, I want to tell you about our friends at SeatGeek. Look, you guys are coming through. You guys are sending me DMs saying, yo, use the code, go into a game this weekend.
Love that.
Go into a game next month. Had to lock down the price, had to lock down the tickets, so on and so forth. I'm all about that. Keep it up. And if you're new and you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can use our promo code. That's 30TAKE. You can find that on our social accounts. It's our social handle, 30TAKE, THREEOHTAKE. And you can take $20 off your first purchase as a first-time user of SeatGeek. And you can save $20, as I mentioned. Enter that at checkout, and you can get tickets for games. You can get tickets for concerts. Concerts are big right now. You know, summer's here.
I mean, think about it. $20, that's like, all right, that's free parking. Or a free drink, probably just one free beer, maybe 2 free sodas.
Or if you're smart, grab Chipotle outside of the stadium before you go in with you and your significant other, your buddy, whoever it is.
That's what I'm saying, dude. $20. Come on.
Like, no need to turn your nose up at that. $20 is $20.
Yeah, and also for those who have used it already, maybe try a different email address.
We've talked about this. There's
credit card.
certainly loopholes. New email
Yeah.
if you have another credit card on file and you're still trying to save $20. There's ways around it. Just be smart about it.
Get creative.
You didn't hear that from us, though.
You did.
Did not hear that from us. Let's look at these stats, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. I figured, let's just start with some hitters and kind of work our way across our major stats that we love to pay attention to and break down. I think I
in particular love the statistical category of runs scored.
That's your favorite, huh?
Yeah, there's not a more valuable stat in baseball.
It's your numero uno.
No, it's actually not, but thank you.
Let's just start. I was thinking OPS. You want to start there?
I say we start left and work our way right. Let's start with the home run category.
All right. Well,
let's go big or go home. Let's go big. I will say, and not a better transition here or a segue here. For my noteworthy performances category or segment today, I did have Luis Robert Jr. in there. So let me just shine a little bit of love on Luis Robert Jr. Last week's American League Player of the Week, he slashed 444, 524, and 1.111. He had 4 home runs, 5 RBIs, 6 runs scored over 6 games last week. His last 5 games, he's hit 5 home runs, 7 RBIs, 10 home runs in the month of June. He's got the 4th most homers in baseball, which is what we're looking at this very moment.
Yeah,
and he's
23.
got the 4th highest slugging percentage in baseball. So
Cooking.
in terms of names here at the top, Luis Robert is, I would say, one of the more surprising ones.
We know what's in there. We know it's
for
in
sure,
there.
For sure.
He's dealt with some injuries, but we know that this is a dude just wasting away in Chicago. So
how do we think this pans out over the second half? Do we think he's still?
I have a feeling it's real. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
I was early to the party. I predicted him to win the MVP last year. Obviously dealt with a bunch of injuries and stuff, so it's kind of a wash. But he is an MVP caliber player. He has the tools to win an MVP someday. It's unfortunate that he's in the AL with Shohei, but he has a ridiculous amount of talent.
And I mean this genuinely. It's possible that won't be for long with Shohei possibly switching leagues here in the near future. So it'll be the National League's turn potentially very soon to deal with that headache of trying to outpay Shohei for the MVP.
Yeah. Also, no, there's no way. Luis Roberts staying put. Yeah. He's not an unrestricted free agent until 2028. Way too much control, way too much talent to give him up. So I think he's going to continue to waste away. But either way, starting to warm up in Chicago. So is his bat. And like we mentioned, Shohei's just... It's crazy.
You can credit his lead in all of baseball right now in the home run category to his, what was it, just a couple games ago? 2 bombs? And he had like 10 Ks or something on the mound.
It was his last start. Yeah.
Just an unreal outing.
I think people need to, and I know everyone's saying this, and I'm not breaking any news here, but like, people need to watch any opportunity they can to watch this guy. Like, it's not going to last forever. And I'm not saying like his career. I'm saying like we're not going to see this likely again. If we do, it's going to be a while at this level. This is Michael Jordan, man. This is like you're watching stuff that's just groundbreaking. So enjoy this. Yeah, 28 jacks. Leading Matt Olson by 2. And then you got Pete Alonso sandwiched in there with 24. Just crazy, man. Crazy production.
I'm trying to see. I think didn't the Nats just play the Angels recently? I think it was in Anaheim.
I don't know.
I may have missed my shot to go see him this year. I
got to see him, when I saw him at the All-Star game in Denver. That was pretty wild watching him take BP.
They are coming to Baltimore. Or no, am I looking at the Nats schedule? Yeah, I'm looking at the Nats schedule. I wonder.
Figure it out.
Might be coming to Baltimore.
That'd be cool.
Check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if this is going to be a runaway MVP year for him, because I don't. There's nobody even remotely close.
I know. Not super fun to do when you flip it around. You look at the bottom half of stuff on the home run category. I mean, you have names on here that just
Luis Ariz up to 3 on the year.
That's big time. I mean, couple surprising names of the qualified guys. You got to look at Starling Marte and you got to look at Javi Baez.
Yeah.
Javi Baez only with 5. What has happened to this guy?
You could throw Alex Verdugo into the mix too. Like they're not expecting him to be a 40 home run guy by any stretch, but he's been here long enough to where it's like, all right, dude, you're going to have to start kind of transitioning into your own here, because like you look around, there's not much help. There's no reinforcements coming. You're one of the guys here, and like he's more of a gap to gap guy for sure, but I'd like to see more than
the pesky
5
pole,
balls.
man. You'd think you could sneak a couple around there. Jose Abreu has 6. We know that horrible start that he got off to, but that's 6 in, I think, a month or less. So as brutal of a start as he had, I think he's starting to maybe turn a little corner.
Yeah, he had a above average month for sure.
Yeah, the rest of these names are probably what you expect.
Looking at for the sake of time here, we'll keep it moving. Looking at average, you got Luis Ariz at the top. Obviously, he is at 396. So for 400 watts, he's at 396. Ronald Acuna just having an otherworldly year. He's second in baseball at 331. And Bo Bichette,
dude,
at 323. I don't know why, but I just love to see that. I love seeing Bo do what Bo does.
Bo, just for frame of reference, Rise has 114 hits. Bo has 110. I love his approach, dude. The elimination of the leg kick just goes heel up, heel down. You see so many 2-strike knocks that he puts through the right side. He's fun to watch. It's hard to root against that guy. But what's wild is that he has 60 strikeouts. Arias has 16. Talk about bat to ball skills. That's nuts.
Yandy Diaz right behind Bo at 322. And then Dodger legend Freddie Freeman coming in at 5th. We didn't even talk about that. I didn't want to make like a whole big deal about it on this episode.
You set the Braves world on fire.
I did not understand how sensitive some Braves fans are. Like, holy
I don't know
cow,
why.
Get a grip.
They don't understand sarcasm.
No, they don't. Like, they were on there talking about how people on this page need to go check out real publications like The Athletic and so on and so forth. And then you had people commenting being like, bro, The Athletic has made like multiple layoffs. Like The Athletic may not be around much longer. So don't know if you want to go do that. But yeah, man, the whole like joke from last episode, Freddie Freeman, Dodger legend, people lost their minds. Yeah. The most comments I've ever had on an episode graphic on Facebook ever.
Same we just got clickbait. That's all we're rolling out.
It wasn't even clickbait.
I don't know what that is.
It was very clearly a reference to like a joke we had kind of run with on the last episode. It wasn't me being like, "Yo, is Freddie Freeman fed up with his time in LA?" Like that's clickbait. I didn't do that. I just said Freddie Freeman, Dodger legend, which was a call to what we had talked about last episode. Anyway, if you're bored heading into the weekend and you want to go check out some unhinged Braves fans comments, go check out the episode graphic from episode 365 on Facebook.
Incredible. I was looking at the bottom half average, by the way, real quick. Some big names on here, dude. Kyle Schwarber.
One more name for the top. We need to give some love to Nick Castellanos. He's had quite the bounce back year. He's hitting 314 this year.
Yeah.
So top 10 for him. He's hitting. Got a better average than Shohei, but I'm not gonna put Shohei down in that regard. But all things considered, quite the bounce back year for Castellanos. So just want to give him some love there for sure.
Yeah. Like I was saying, bottom half, Schwarber is at the very bottom amongst qualifiers, hitting $185. Max Muncy is right behind him at $188. Willie Adames at 201. Byron Buxton at 203. Dude.
Real quick. When I know we go back and forth on Buxton, but like at what point is Byron Buxton just going to be what he's going to be?
Yeah.
Like at what point do we quit with the projections? We quit with the speculating and just say like, maybe we've seen what Byron Buxton is already.
You're talking about arguably the most athletic guy in the league being forced to DH because he can't stay healthy. And some guys just aren't built for that. They need to have the defensive side.
Yeah. And to your point, I'm not. We've seen what he's capable of doing. So I'm not saying that he's not a talented player, but like with any other guy whose career is marred by injury, it's just a reality of like, we can't sit here and put you in this conversation with this group of players.
No.
In terms of being elite or what have you, if you can't stay on the field, like you can't go off projections.
And they shut him down on the base pass too. He only has 6 stolen bases. They've really just like tied one hand behind his back.
His body's just broken, man.
Yeah.
Like he's just not. He's not himself right now. It's tough. You hate it. You need a guy like Byron Buxton to be playing at 100% for the betterment of baseball. OPS. I mentioned to you this before we got on air. I flipped the table upside down. Of qualified players, Javier Baez has the worst OPS in baseball at 590.
Dude.
You want to talk about seeing the better days of a player. Javi Baez, I think we've seen the best we're going to get from Javi Baez.
What was that contract again?
Terrible. That's what it was. Another name that's rather surprising, Ahmed Rosario. I think they had higher hopes for
6 years, 140.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Ahmed Rosario, I think the Guardians had higher hopes for Ahmed Rosario, Dom Smith, 653, Jeff McNeil. You're gonna get what you're gonna get with McNeil.
Yeah. Cronenworth too. What's going on there?
Yeah, that and I before the calendar had flipped to June, I was looking at his splits because I kept reading, or I just kept hearing from Padres fans like, "Yo, what's up with Cronenworth? This guy needs to figure it out," especially with the contract they extended him with. And I was like, "This is another guy like Soto." I'm not equating the two, but he likes the month of June, but he just couldn't find that gear this month. And I mean, now that we've pretty much reached the end of the month. If he wasn't going to figure it out this month, I don't know when he's going to figure it out. Yeah.
It's like it's the same thing with DJ LeMahieu. Yankees fans are just baffled. I don't understand what's going on there, man. That The guy has a batting title, on his shelf, and it's like your slash or your OPS is at 663. That's brutal. So it's too bad.
Flipping it upside down, fifth in all of baseball, you've got Corbin Carroll at 932.
Love that.
I'll admit I didn't see his campaign taken off to this extent.
I didn't expect this either. Yeah,
I knew he was going to be good, but I mean,
goodness, he's got 17 jacks too.
Dude's tearing it. Yeah, that's quite honestly, that's probably the more surprising or the most surprising number that he's bringing to the table. Because the stolen bases were going to be there.
Right.
He's got 24 on the year. His contact rate is, he's only got 63 strikeouts as a rookie. So, I would say that's pretty good for your first campaign. But 17 bombs, so that's, this kid's going to be something special. Top 5 really isn't all that surprising outside of maybe Luis Arias for a guy that has 3 bombs.
Yeah.
He's got an OPS of 937.
16 doubles.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Triple. Shohei has 5 triples.
That guy does not make any sense. Does not make sense at all.
He's a robot, dude. He's a video game character. It's nuts. Absurd. Another shout out to Yandy Diaz, man. Just
no kidding.
Like, good for you. Ketel Marte looking like he's gonna have a bounce back year. I think this is real. We saw him do it a couple years ago, and at one point a lot of people considered him like a top 3 second baseman in the league. So good to see him in the top 10 again. For
sure. And then Juan Soto sitting at 7th in all of baseball with an OPS of 913. Good to see him turn around because Padres fans, as irrational as they can be at times, were like, we can't re-sign this guy. All he does is walk. Well,
there you go.
Like he's doing just fine. Maybe you need to look elsewhere on that team. Maybe look at Xander Bogaerts before you look at Juan Soto, because Juan Soto's doing just fine.
Yeah.
Switching over to the pitching side of things.
Hang on real quick. I got to make a note of this on, we got to talk stolen bases. I think this is the first year that we've seen these types of numbers. Yeah. Ruiz with Oakland is he just cracked 40. Dude, 40. Acuna right behind him at 36, leading the NL.
So Acuna's on 40-40 watch.
Yeah. It's coming, dude. It's coming. It's got to be. He's on pace. Wander Franco at 25. We mentioned Carroll at 24 earlier. So, yeah, dude, just crazy stolen base numbers. It has seemed like it's fizzled out a little bit more. I know the first month, like, it was just through the roof on just percentages and stuff, but I think pitchers have gotten better with, like, manipulating the pitch clock and things like that.
Adjustments have been made for sure.
Yeah, but still insane there. All right.
Pitching side of things, let's look at ERA. Select player pool. Make sure you're looking at qualified players because some of these numbers are atrocious otherwise.
Yeah.
Lance Lynn, we've already talked about. Extremely disappointing year thus far. Although I will say, I think his last couple outings, he's figured something out, or just stumbled into a couple lucky outings. Not sure which is the safer assumption. He's got an ERA right now 6.40. Jack Flaherty's sitting at 4.95. Sandy Alcantara has yet to really find his stride. He's 482. Domingo Germán
down here too.
Domingo Germán, owner of the 24th perfect game in Major League history, is sitting at a 4.54.
Yeah, that and last night had to help a ton. Aaron Nola at a 4.51. Pablo Lopez at a 4.41. You talk about, Arias getting a change of scenery and getting better. Pablo Lopez looks like, I don't know. Seems like the Twins may have lost that deal a little bit. Some big names on here.
On that trade, I think early on it was, and I remember talking about it. It was like, you could go either way, but then Luis
I didn't
Arias
see why it didn't make sense for the Marlins to do it at that time. It didn't make sense for me.
No, but like the aftermath of it is, at least early on, we're like, okay, just essentially a personnel swap. But then Luis Arias just kept hitting and hitting and hitting.
Yeah.
And Pablo Lopez just couldn't get to the level I think that they were hoping that he would get to.
Yeah.
And the trade, the winner became much more clear as the season progressed.
Two names that stand out to me a little bit, and say what you will about how you feel about the Brewers, but I mean, to have two guys in the bottom 25 and they're surprising names with Freddie Peralta and Corbin Burns. That's pretty wild to me. Talking a Cy Young favorite and like a very solid Freddie Peralta had, he's got it in him. I don't know what's going on in Milwaukee.
Talking about a name that I don't think you'll see at towards the bottom of the list by the end of the season, Taijuan Walker, who is 24th worst with the 410. I think he's found something. You look at his last 4 starts, I think. Mm-hmm. And there's been a noticeable shift. Yeah. In terms of what he's bringing to the table every fifth day.
He's starting to get it going.
I think those numbers will continue to shift rather drastically as the season progresses. Flipping the table here, Bryce Elder's been a great story for the Braves. He's sitting at a 2.44. Shane McClanahan, as you would expect, at the top with a 2.23.
How about old man Kirsch?
Old man Kirsch said, "Give me a pitch clock. I don't care. I'll do what I do." And he's top 5. He's sitting at a 2.55. I know we just got done ragging the guy, but Marcus Stroman, I think, is a rather surprising name at the top here. He's third with a 2.47.
Look at the Rangers, brother. 3 guys in the top 15.
Love it.
Dane Dunning, Nathan Eovaldi, and John Gray.
I don't know, man. John Gray might be making you eat your words a little bit, because I remember you saying that, you're kind of talking down on old John Gray, saying, well, you need pitching help, and I don't know if John Gray is it.
That guy's not an ace, but...
No, but...
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't think anyone knew what Mike Maddox was going to be able to do for this staff.
No, and I don't think anybody saw John Gray hitting the halfway mark with a 2.89. But
these guys are crushing it.
Justin Steele, a teammate of Stroman's, throwing the ball real well. 14 starts. He's got a 2.62.
Yeah,
some interesting names. Nathan Eovaldi, as you just touched on, 2.82. I love it. Love to see it. A lot of sub-2 guys.
Who leads in innings? We got Logan Webb chewing up a ton of innings with 110 already. Nola, as bad as the ERA is, he's still eating innings at 105 right behind him. You talk about, I mean, we've mentioned how rare 200 inning guys can be nowadays. You got 11, arguably 12, 13 guys pacing that right now. So that's interesting. That's real interesting.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys you're going to get into, as we get closer to October, you're going to certainly get into innings management.
Right.
Load management, especially these guys with Texas, Nathan Eovaldi and the like. But
I mean, I wonder,
some of these guys will have a legitimate run at 200 for sure.
We could have 5+. We could be looking at least 5 guys. I like it. Big fan. What we got in strikeouts?
We may have to wrap it after strikeouts, because we got more to talk about before we wrap it up.
Spencer Strider, 146. Of course, Shohei in the top 3 again.
Wait, what is TWP? Oh, two-way player.
Two-way player, yeah.
I gotcha.
Oof.
Is there any number in the top 20 that catches you by surprise?
I mean, Mackenzie Gore with 104.
I don't know if that surprises me as much. I mean, maybe like in terms of being on the leaderboard, yeah, maybe a little high, but he's got like his stuff is strikeout stuff. Like he's not pitching to contact necessarily.
That's just good to see. I like when you see prospects pan out, and you know, he looks good. 3.89 ERA. Mitch Keller has got to be the biggest name that's surprising everyone right now. I mean, he's just been middle of the road his whole career, and now, you know, he ranks 5th in strikeouts, 118, 3.34 ERA. He's already thrown 105 innings. I mean, he's doing his thing. That's 118 strikeouts to 28 walks, by the way. That's a ratio right there. So that stands out for me. Pretty cool.
Can I share some other names of some guys who've been doing rather well as of late?
Let me hear it.
Some noteworthy performances as of late. I already mentioned Luis Robert. I got a couple guys I want to give, or a few guys I want to give some love to. Lane Thomas. Entering Wednesday, Thomas was slashing 377, 409, and 754 over the last 15 games with 8 doubles, 5 home runs, 13 runs scored, and 13 RBIs. Wow. Reid Detmers, another guy who I feel like baseball fans outside of Los Angeles, Anaheim of LA probably haven't heard about since his no-hitter. He's only had one quality start in his first 11, but in the month of June, his last 4 starts, I think he had like 3 or 4 consecutive. So he's figured something out. His last 4 starts, he's recorded a 1.05 ERA with 34 strikeouts. He's working with a career best 11.1 Ks per 9 on the season. And his last time out, he went 7 innings deep with 10 strikeouts versus the White Sox. So old Reid Detmers is found a stride. Blake Snell, another guy that
he's figured it out. We knew that was in there somewhere.
Good for Blake Snell. Has struck out 10 plus in each of his last 4 starts, has 6 straight starts of 6 plus dating back to May 31st. 6 plus innings pitched dating back to May 31st. He's given up 2 or fewer runs in 7 straight appearances, posting a .86 ERA, a .83 WHIP, and 66 to 15 strikeout to walk ratio across 42 innings. I know you got your deep dive in your weekend series to watch, so let me just run through our little fantasy segment here real quick, and then we'll get to some weekend series to watch. Just 2 names that I wanted to throw out there today. Is it Friedel or Friedel?
I don't know.
TJ. We're just going to call him TJ.
I'm going to go Friedel.
With the Reds. He's rostered in 13% of leagues right now. He's got 157 points on the season, but he's hitting 320 on the year.
Yeah.
With 6 home runs, 31 ribbies, and 14 swipes. In the last 15 days, he's posted 54 points, which is an average of 4.5 a game. In his last 2 games, he's hit 2 bombs with 5 runs scored.
All right. Well, before this gets released to the public, I'm just going to do it right now. I'm going to add him right now, thanks to your little nugget.
You're welcome. Little depth piece if you need another position player on your roster. His score log or his game logs, point logs, I should say. Over the last 6 games, he's scored 5, 2, 4, 1, 7, and 15. So a lot of crooked numbers. When you're playing fantasy, you want a guy who's putting up a lot of crooked numbers as of late, and that is certainly a guy that has been doing so.
I officially moved on from Manoah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Brian Bayo, my other name that you should consider adding, 29% rostered across leagues. He's recently seen a 13% bump, though, so get to it if you haven't added him already. He's had 15 plus points in 4 of his last 6 starts. He's rocking a 3.27 ERA with a 1.27 WHIP, and he's gone 7 innings deep in 2 of his last 3 starts. He's getting this ball tonight against the Marlins, so if I get this out in time, lock him up if he's still available in your leagues. Weekend series to watch for me: Marlins and the Braves. Game 1, you got Brian Hoeing versus TBD. Game 2, you got Uri Perez versus Charlie Morton. Game 3, Sandy Alcantara versus Spencer Strider. So some good arms going this weekend in the Marlins versus Braves series. Not to speed through, but that's all I got. I'll flip it to you for your deep dive in the weekend series watch. What do you got?
Deep dive weekend matchup. We got Astros visiting the Rangers. 4-game set starting on Friday. For those curious, Astros are currently, as of Thursday, 43-37. Rangers are 49-31. 6-4 in their last 10, whereas the Astros are 4-6. So I think it's a pretty big matchup. First game, you got Ronel Blanco going for the Astros. Looks like he's possibly transitioning as a starting rotation guy. Started off in the bullpen all year, and I think he's just becoming a starter now. It's only his 5th start of the year. Pretty okay, I would say. 35 innings pitched so far is a 4.63 ERA. He has given up 8 home runs. Last time out, he got 14 points in fantasy facing the Dodgers. So not too bad. 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks. Going up against John Gray, who we talked about before, is, to be honest, I think he's just found something in Texas. Getting out of Colorado has been a blessing for him. He ranks as the 33rd starting pitcher in fantasy, 6-3 with a 2.89 ERA, as we mentioned before. 181 points so far in fantasy. Last time out was against the Yankees, went 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. And a little nugget about him is that his batting average against right now is 208, which is definitely the lowest in his career. And then a big thing for him is that he's leaving a lot of guys on base. 83% left on base this year, averaging 69% in his career. So that's way up. He's getting out of jams. So game 1, pretty solid there. That's Friday. Saturday, you got Hunter Brown going for the Astros, 27th ranked pitcher in fantasy with a 3.62 ERA, 188 total points. Had 18 points out last time he faced the Dodgers, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 7 Ks. And a little nugget here. I know we just went through the league leaders and stuff. He's ranked top 20 in Ks per 9 at a little over 10, which is crazy. He's going against Nathan Eovaldi, ranking the number 3rd pitcher in all the starting pitchers for fantasy. Just ridiculous numbers here. 9-3 this year, 2.82 ERA, 105 innings already, 258 points in fantasy. Totaled up 12 points against the Yankees last time out, 5 2/3, 2 earned runs, 5 Ks. A little nugget here, though. 6 earned runs in 2 starts last year against the Astros. 5 home runs in those 2 starts. So maybe the Astros see a little something in Eovaldi. Saturday's game, you got Framber Valdez, the second-ranked pitcher in fantasy. 2.49 ERA, already at 105 innings as well. 259 points overall in fantasy. Struggled last time out, though. Only 3 points against the Cardinals for fantasy. Went 6 innings, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 8 hits. So, yeah, been a bit of a struggle for him. His K to walk ratio, though, or K to walk percentage, I should say, is at a 20.6, well above his career average at a 15.8. So something to note there. He's going to be facing Andrew Heaney, 62nd ranked pitcher in fantasy, with a 4.38 ERA. Just a solid. I think what people got to remember is that you saw like flashes of Heaney doing his thing better than most last year. I think you just got to remember this is a back end of the rotation kind of guy. You know, he's a 4-5 starter, and that's what he's going to give you. So pretty decent. 137 points in fantasy. Did struggle last time out against Detroit, though. Only I think he had -1 point in fantasy. Averaging only 5.2 points per start over his last 5 starts in fantasy. So maybe against the Astros, you look at benching. I don't know. And then game 4, taking you all the way to Monday. Christian Javier going for the Astros, 34th ranked pitcher in starting pitchers for fantasy. 3.72 ERA. Got touched up against the Cardinals as well, actually. -8 points in fantasy. 4 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs. Only 1 strikeout. -17 points overall in his last 2 starts. But something to note here, maybe a little bit of a bright side. He has a 1.75 batting average against with the Rangers, going against the Rangers in his career. So maybe just something about pitching against them. And then lastly here, going for the Rangers on Monday is Martin Perez. Seems like he's kind of fallen back down to earth since the beginning of his season. 70th ranked pitcher in fantasy, a 4.28 ERA. 125 points overall. Decent last time out against Detroit, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. I mean, that's a quality start. That's all you can ask for. Something I found in here, though, was looking through some numbers. So in his career, the average launch angle against him is 8.9 degrees. This year, it's 12.9. So people are starting to lift the ball a little bit more. Obviously, the home runs per 9 is way up versus last year. It's all the way up to 1.3 versus last year was just 0.5. So, Martin, get the ball down, dude. But yeah, that's a good matchup right there. I think, maybe the Astros look to take a little bit of a closer stance in the standings and try to humble the Rangers a little bit. We'll see.
We shall see. That's about all I had. Just a reminder here, now that you've concluded episode 366 with your friends Kyle and Nate, no time like right now to go use our promo code at Manscaped. Quick reminder, we are in the middle of a campaign with them, a little trial campaign, and we're trying to lock them down as a sponsor long term. So if you can help us out, go check out their website. Maybe we'll pick something out for yourself or for dad or whoever in your life, and use our promo code. You can take 20% off and you get free shipping. So go ahead and check that out. Go ahead and close the podcast app that you're listening to this on, and head on over to Manscaped.
Yeah, go spend some money.
Last thing I had for closing, or the only thing I had for closing the book, was the announcement that we'll have an official podcast mascot starting next episode.
Yeah,
going to get a little golden retriever pup this weekend. So I don't know. We'll have to play it by ear. We'll I'm trying to think. he might be able to make his debut on Monday. We'll see.
I like it.
We'll see.
I'm here for it. Just prop him up on that couch behind you. He'll be good.
Yeah, might have to. Just post up. It might be whining the whole episode though.
That's
but
all
we'll
right.
see.
That's all right.
Anything you got for the people?
Not much. I mean, just to shout out to my incredible girlfriend. Happy birthday. 0% chance that she's listening to this, but either way, just my best friend and the best person on the world for me. And she's a big 26 today. So, yeah, if you're friends with me on Instagram or something like that, just give her a little shout out, give her a little love. She doesn't like birthdays, so I'm trying to make sure it's a good day for her. But yeah, happy birthday to the lady. That's all I got.
Let's blow it up for her today.
Yeah, let's do it. Cool. Let's have a good weekend. Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.